Ripple. Killing Ripple. Ripple. The colored water. Drugs. Dropped into clear water. Good for this right now. Ripple influences the whole colored water. Dropped into a clear bottle.
Alright, cool. Hello, this is Ray Carney, and who are you?
The Reverend T. Gabriel Williams.
Use that for the intro. And today we're interviewing Steve Blaze from Lillian. What else is he from?
Near Life Experience, and he's also got his own stuff going, some self-titled action going.
Yeah, he's with a band called Angel as well. And what Gabe said too. Bam. Intro. Beautiful. And yes, we have sex together. That's why we're that good. Us or Ripple. Yeah, I think Ryan had some promising shit going on. He's wanting to interview the director of the Pucifier videos, which...
Yeah, that's what you were saying. Maynard's work.
Yeah, which will give hits, but to me it doesn't give credibility, because those, I don't really... For animation, I like those videos, but if I look at Tool and then I look at those videos, I'm like, that sucks. But
right.
That's not how you're supposed to look at it, so...
Right. Well, isn't it one of the dudes from Tool that does their videos or something like that?
Yeah, man, the guitarist.
That's what I thought. He does all the little claymations and all that shit.
He does a lot of the work. Yeah, dude, that dude did the special effects or helped with them for Terminator 2, Jurassic Park.
Oh, no shit?
Yeah.
Nice.
Essentially, the studio he worked for got an Emmy, 2 Emmys for Terminator 2.
Right on. Well, yeah, I know that. I didn't realize that's who he worked for, but shit.
Yeah. Yeah, he does a lot of shit. He's fantastic.
He doesn't. I was gonna say that. So Tool is almost just like it's his project, but it's almost a side project for what he's probably
if you went
making.
Back and listen to my Pygmy Love Circus interview, which is Danny Carey, the drummer of Tool's band. They're like it's their side projects. That's it. That's why they only have 4 albums out of like 20 years worth of work. Because they're all doing other shit as well. Might not be music, but yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And the Melvins are touring right now. I'll have to look it up and see where you're at, but have you ever heard them? No?
Yeah.
Seeing them live is completely awesome.
Right on.
Like, most of their members are their opening act, too, so they play essentially for 2 or 3 hours.
Fuck.
It's great. All right, so is Steve calling in?
No, I'll call him. I'll
All right,
hop off.
Hold on. Let me finish my cigarette.
All right.
Unless you want to... Yeah, let me finish my cigarette.
Just let me know when you're ready, and I'll start calling him out.
Right on. I think we had a minute or 2 left.
Cool.
Yeah, like at the end, you might ask your Hurricane Katrina stuff, and I might ask some more in-depth religious shit.
Right on.
We'll see. He'll probably be a happy, jovial guy.
He is.
He's kind of like a... What I'm gathering and sensing is he's kind of like a Zakk Wylde happy guitarist guy.
Yeah, he totally is. I mean...
Good.
It was really because
awesome.
Yeah, and I've got these songs going through my head that I'm gonna run by Wes and send them out to you, for maybe putting on the interview, because there's one that's kind of just pertinent to society or what's going on overseas and shit that you wrote fucking years ago. So.
Yeah. Dude, honestly, on Little Snacks, whatever you want to put on there, it's all you.
Right on, right on. Oh, cool. I'm going to call him out then. I just refilled my water and got my phone charged and sitting by my cord. And all right. I'll be back with you in a minute.
All right.
All right, Ray, you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Ray, this is Steve Blaze. Steve, this is Ray Carney, our other host.
How you doing, Ray?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Doing fine, man.
Yeah, it's a nice day out.
Yeah, it's hot here. Where are you guys now? What city?
I'm up here in Seattle, about to move back to Colorado.
Okay.
And I'm in a wheat field in Kansas in a shack with a cell phone.
I avoid tornadoes.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's where I moved from.
Yeah. That's what everybody asks about is tornadoes.
That's what you're known for, man.
Yeah, one
Just
one
like all
hit
they
us.
ever ask us is about Katrina.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. We had a tornado go right over the top of our house. Right before we left Kansas, I kept telling everybody, "Oh man, yeah, I want to see a tornado before I leave Kansas." And man, sometimes you shouldn't tempt stuff like that, you know.
What you ask for, huh?
Yeah, because we woke up to a freight train. Grabbed my fiancée and threw her into the closet, and a tree crashed down on our house and ripped our neighbor's roof off. And we moved about a month and a couple of weeks later. It was just like, oh man. And now I'm living near a volcano. It's like, okay, just let me leave.
One extreme to the next. I have a mentally disabled mother, and there's a tornado once, and like everybody's taking cover. I'm like, where's my mom at? You know? I look around, she's outside with her arms open, embracing it. I'm like, oh shit! I had to go grab her. It's pretty wild.
Oh man.
Oh, crazy.
Fun. Well, cool. We got an interview to do today. Are you ready for us, Steve?
I'm always ready, man.
Excellent. Well, cool. I'll start out.
Ray, I can barely hear you. I can hear you okay. I can hear Gabe better, but
okay. Can you hear me better now?
It's a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit better there.
Okay. I will try to speak as loudly and clearly as I can. Okay. So, Steve, is there anything we can expect coming up with Lillian Axe, like a new album or a new tour or anything like that?
Yeah, actually, we're working on a brand new record right now. I'm in the process of writing it. which that can take anywhere from a couple of weeks to a couple of months. I write a lot, and I'm always writing, so there's a lot of stuff that is my archives, so to speak. But we're right now in the process of getting everything together to start recording, and that will probably wind up getting into the studio like in probably end of July, beginning of August.
Excellent.
Right on. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I made a vow after we were, kind of went on hiatus for a little while that I would never go any lengthy period of time between doing records. So, it's been such a long time, but, studio album-wise, between Psycho Schizophrenia and Waters Rising, I swore I'd never do that again. So, we wanted to, since Waters Rising is relatively new, it came out about 10 months ago, I want to try to make sure we have another release, hopefully within the next 6 months.
Nice. Keeping on that schedule, that'll keep you busy for years to come.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the way that it seems like it used to be, years ago back, like in the 70s and 80s, like when I was a kid listening to bands, it seems like they would come up with, albums, once a year, every year and a half or so. It's like bands didn't take these long breaks, and they were in the studio, and there were even some bands that were cutting 2 or 3 records at a time, so that they could have the releases ready to go as soon as there was a lull in their tour schedule or something like that to keep things on the roll. So I like that idea. That I write a lot, and there's a lot of material that I really want to get out there, and you're limited to 10 to 14 songs a record, and you feel like there's a lot of material that you'd like the world to hear. And sometimes, you're in situations where, bands are releasing albums every 3 or 4 years, and there's so much material that, I just always felt like if I didn't get, stuff out there, it was just kind of a waste, sitting on my shelves here. So we're going to try to keep up a pretty heavy schedule of, an album every year, year and a half, and that should keep the fans happy at least.
Heck yeah. So when you lost Ron Taylor, how did you go through the process of auditioning your new singers before finding Derek?
Well, one thing that I've always kept in mind is, bands they're like families. It's people don't realize the difficulty involved in relationships within bands. Because lots of things occur. Because of the fact that being in a band and touring and making records is very pretty highly emotional situations arise here and there, and you have people, not only does the band go through different things, but every individual and your crew members and everything and people involved, they all go through different things, not only in their band life, but in their personal life. People change their, how they feel about the other people in the band and feel like they have changes in what they feel like within their families, if they want to go back out on the road again, if they're into it. Sometimes musical changes occur where people are wanting to take a different direction. Sometimes you have ego changes, when an individual wants to go do things his way. It happens all the time. It's happened in just about every band in existence.
Yep.
So I always, whenever I'm out, whenever I'm on the road and meeting people and stuff, I always keep in the back of my mind people that I've met that I feel are talented individuals, that if I was ever in a situation that I needed to find a new musician or recommend to other musical projects, looking for people I could make recommendations of people I'd seen and heard and that I thought were talented. So when it came down to Ron, to be honest with you, I had, lots of bass players and drummers and other guitar players and stuff that I knew in the back of my mind were good players. But when it came down to singers, that's really, really difficult situation because, your singer is a key, key element to not only the success of a band, but the whole aura and signature of a band.
Yeah,
it's not like, you can change drummers and, a good drummer is a good drummer, and sometimes it's, not necessarily obvious that you've even made a change, And same thing sometimes with bass players, even, in rhythm guitar players, etc. it comes down to a singer, it's very, very easy to hear, differences between singers. So when Ron decided that he wanted to do other things, he wasn't really wanting to continue to tour and beat down the bushes like we were and stuff. And he got married, and just I think Ron wanted to kind of stay at home and do the family thing. And so when he had been saying that for a few years, but he hadn't come full out and said anything to us about making the final decision. So when he did, I wasn't totally surprised. And first thing I did was just kind of put some feelers out. We had talked to several different people, and my biggest concern was not only do you have to find somebody who is going to be the right personality, be prepared, be a person that's got his act together, no egos, professionalism, has the right physical look for the band, all these other things just besides having the right voice. There's so many different components involved. And, I was contacted by Derek, actually. I hadn't even thought of Derek, even though I knew him for years and stuff. I hadn't seen him in a while and just didn't really pop into my head because I hadn't seen him in so long. And then he contacted me and said, you know what? He said, you don't even need to look any further. The job is mine. And I said, okay, I appreciate the enthusiasm and stuff, but let's put it to the test. I'll send you some songs, and like for you to come to the studio, and we'll record you, singing some of the new stuff and some of the old Lillian catalog, and see how it sounds. And he did, and it was just simply amazing. It was like, my God, I can't believe I just overlooked this guy and didn't even think about this. I mean, not only did he sound so similar to Ron, tonality-wise, but he added this new, fresh, little extra something in there that was very similar to Ron, but unique in its own way. And I was like, man, this is great. And because of the fact that Derek was such a big fan of the band for so long, he knew the stuff already. He was ready to go. And so at that point, we just stopped even discussing things with other bands and other singers. And, it was very, very helpful that he's a native New Orleanian, too. So that's the story, man. And, he jumped right on, and before we even did shows, he was in the studio doing vocals on this new record. So I'm really excited about, on Waters Rising, I'm really excited about him, now that, he's got 2 years of playing and stuff with the band and the album out and everything, and, he's not a rookie anymore. He's a vet. He's
nice.
It's going to be exciting to be in the studio with him and letting him, sing material and kind of spread his wings now.
And that's good that you could totally bring a friend into the fold, and it's a keeping the family, instead of
and to have him right here in our backyard, right here in New Orleans too. It's very helpful.
Yeah, for sure. So it sounds like it's probably been pretty easy for you to get used to having him up there in front of you.
Oh yeah, that was very smooth too. Like I actually thought the first couple of shows he was going to be a little more, gun shy, because not only just being on stage with us, but having to, go out there and impress the fans. Hard to impress fans.
yeah, for sure.
But, it's a really big obstacle when you think about it, because especially in our case, we have very, very loyal, adamant fans, and there were even a few occasions. It's kind of funny because there were a few people that were like, Ron and Steve aren't together anymore, not going to work out, not going to, it's over, done. Right. And I'd be like, wait a minute, hold on a second. And this was usually coming from, like, people that were the closest to us, like fans that we knew well and that kind of thing, close friends and that kind of stuff. They were the most skeptical about everything. Fans all around the world and stuff, emailing me and contacting me were like, you know what? More power to you. Go do what you got to do. It's a drag, but we have faith in you, and go do what you have to do. So it was really, it was nice to see how much support we had, and it was also extra drive behind me to make sure that I impressed them with what we were doing and that I kept my word. And don't worry, we're not losing anything. We're gaining, and we're going to just keep on climbing. You won't be disappointed. And even the people that came to me and were skeptical after Waters Rising came out, just about every single one of them apologized to me. Say, hey, we shouldn't have doubted you. You know, that's great album. We're happy. So it's kind of funny. It's like trying to, bring your report card home to your mom. Make sure you. God, I told you to get all A's. Here we go. I do have all A's.
I think you're up there, Ray.
All right, right on. So I may have already touched on this a little bit. So or is there a upcoming tour going to coincide with the new stuff you're working on in the studio?
Well, we're definitely going to tour. We always tour as soon as we have a record out. We're not sure right at this point what the release date's going to be. You want to try to release your album no later than October in a year, because around November and December with Christmas and everything, it's just a bad time to release records. I mean, it's always been like that. So depending on when we actually start, we may not even have a release until January or February. If that's the case, then what we're probably going to do is do some shows, maybe like September and October, go out and do a run just for the heck of it, just to get out and play some places that we didn't play before, and then look to tour, right as soon as the album comes out. That's the plan. And also, last year we toured for 2 months straight. We did 50-somewhat dates in about a 60-day period, from coast to coast and then back. And then we finished up with a string of dates with Alice Cooper. And Alice is going out pretty soon, like for a long stretch. And so we're kind of hoping that we get to do some more dates with him. Maybe we'll do something like that this year, and then a few dates. But as far as like a lengthy tour, not until the record comes out.
Right on. Have to stay in touch when if you're going through Colorado or anywhere in the vicinity, you'll have to come out and check out the new stuff.
Yeah. We went through. I think we only played Denver though. I think that's the only place we played.
Yeah, I'll be just living just south of Denver, so that's no problem.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I was reading something on one of your blog posts that was saying you're really happy with the new material because it's kind of reminiscent of what you were reaching into when you wrote Psychoschizophrenia. And Psychoschizophrenia seemed to break all kinds of new ground for you guys. What was your inspiration for writing that?
Yeah, I think so too. It's funny because every album, when I think about writing and preparing for every record, it's like a whole different chapter in my life. There certain things were happening at that time, and it's just a really everything kind of it's almost like different chapters in a book, and they were all very unique and every different from every other record. And around Psychoschizophrenia time, it was right after Poetic Justice. And that, we had done real well with that album. And the record company bought me a home studio to do my demos at my house because, I'm really, like, when it comes down to writing and stuff, I kind of lock myself away, and I just sit there and work. And for Psycho, I was spending, like 10 at night in the morning till 6, 7 in the morning, 10 at night to 6, 7 in the morning, writing and recording. And it was really the first time that I was ever really able to have the equipment at my disposal where I could just write. If things weren't working out, just erase it, I just was able to, I had things at my disposal that allowed me to write a lot of stuff and be very experimental. And something inside of me just really clicked. And I think it was like one of the most creative writing times that I'd ever gone through in my life. I mean, I don't know, something opened up, and it allowed me to go into a more of an experimental direction, and I didn't feel the shackles of concern about writing hit songs and that kind of stuff. And it's like I didn't have any pressure on me to come up with singles. It was just like, just go make a great record, And I felt my musical direction and likings, moving heavier and a little more dark and a little more experimental, not being so afraid to do certain things and write about certain things. And just something, really just opened up wide on me at that time. That's kind of stayed with me ever since. And I kind of feel like that right now, that I'm, it's really not about, especially with the way the industry is, it's not about trying to fit any kind of particular mold or anything, because the way the industry is now, God knows what's going to be popular. We have no idea, There's no, it's the way everything has changed so much. You never know what's going to be big, what's going to be popular, what the people are going to like. So, and being our 9th album, it's like, you know what? You just got to write, and it's going to be Lillian X. That's the most important thing, is just make it good, make it quality. So I'm kind of in a situation right now where I just feel like everything's wide open. Just go out and make some great stuff.
Nice. That's cool that you're feeling that way, because that was a kick-ass album.
I appreciate it.
And it's you could totally see the change, because I'd listened to Poetic Justice a lot, and when Psycho Schizophrenia came out, it was just, and I was listening to heavier music at the time too, and it was like you could totally sense this, like you said, kind of an opening up, definitely broadening the direction you were going.
Right.
Excellent. So, Steve, what direction are you going with your other band, Near Life Experience? And is there anything lined up for the self-titled?
Well, the thing about Near Life Experience is that, when the band kind of took a little bit of a break in '96, we all wanted to go do some different things. And my brother and I wanted to play together. He was playing in a band at the time called Crowbar. And he kind of grew up, in my footsteps, following Lillian around, he was becoming, a great drummer in his own right. And, now he plays, he's a drummer for Black Label Society. So my brother's doing well. And he and I wanted to do a project together. So we started Near Life Experience. And it was just something that, after Psycho, some of the band members were kind of wanting to go in different musical directions, I think. We had released 5 albums. We had never taken a break. We were constantly moving, with our, went through 2 major label deals, and it was just a constant move, and nobody was ever getting any time to sit back and just, kind of overlook everything. So everybody was kind of feeling like they wanted to go do some different things, including myself. And we decided to take a little break. So my brother and I put Near Life Experience together to kind of go off into, kind of experimental land. We were writing songs that were 7-8 minutes long, like heavy metal Pink Floyd kind of, and just, no boundaries. And we did that, and I'm still doing that right now. And the real difference between that and Lillian is just the chemistry of the players, and the fact that I do lead vocals in the band. But there's some songs that, it's not like I really sit down so much and, I'm going to write Near Life stuff, I'm going to write Lillian stuff. I just write it in the, it seems to just kind of migrate to whatever band sounds like it would work out for. For example, on Waters Rising album, the song, I can't remember the name of my own song, Deep in the Black. Deep in the Black was originally a song for Near Life Experience. But it fit Lillian, and then we made a couple little changes in it, and it worked out fine, So it's just another outlet for me to do some things and be able to do lead vocals as well.
Right on. Do you have a label lined up for that, or?
No, we did 2 albums out on an indie label, and we are doing the record ourselves right now, and we're going to shop it as soon as it's done. It's about halfway finished right now.
Right on. Any thinking? How about how long you think that's going to be?
I think that album probably will be finished by, I don't know, probably by October or so. Cool. And then we'll send it out and see if if anybody's interested in putting it out. We've got a few people that have told us they're interested. But my drummer in that band, his name's Rob Hovey. He's also the engineer on the last Lillian record. And Eric Morris, Lillian's bass player, is bass player in Near Life also. Right. That's how he got the Lillian gig, because he was, playing with me in Near Life. And then we have another guitar player in Near Life named Richard Kendrick. And we just added a keyboard player named Michael Todd to the band. And we haven't done any shows in about a year and a half because Richard, the other guitar player, had to move to Belgium for 2 years. Crimson things. So, he couldn't really just fly in or anything like that. But he just moved back, so kind of all, taking form right now. He's back, finishing this record. It's just nonstop, It's like a big jigsaw puzzle, but it all fits.
Nice.
So, on Near Life Experience, will you be, since he's moved back, will you guys be touring it? Touring the newer stuff you have going on with it?
Yeah, we're going to start doing some shows around here probably like in October, November or so. Like I said, we just added a keyboard player to the band. So now we've got about half the record done. We've got to incorporate him into everything that we've done in the past, to get him worked in, plus finish the record. And then we're recording the album at Rob's studio here in Mandeville, where we both live. So, we've been working on that for probably about a year and a half right now. It's kind of been on hiatus because of the Lillian thing. So, we hadn't been in a big rush to do anything, pretty much because Richard was living in Belgium. So now that he's back, we're kind of squeezing everything in there now. It's
right
nonstop, brother, I'm telling you, man.
I was going to say, it sounds like it's going to be busy between touring with that, touring with Lillian Axe, and all the writing that you do, man.
Yeah, it is. And then I'm playing in Angel, too, as well.
Yeah, that's right. We hadn't
What are you doing with Angel?
Play guitar. I've been playing guitar with Angel since about 10 years now.
Well, do you guys have anything up and coming for that band?
Well, here's what happened. They contacted me. The keyboard player at the time in the band was writing a book, and he wanted to interview me for his book. And when he did, he said, hey, look, Angel, I've been playing guitar in Angel. Angel, man, I was a huge fan of Angel when I was a kid. He goes, well, Punky Meadows isn't going to be playing. He's not doing it. Are you interested in coming up to New York and jamming with the band? I said, yeah, absolutely. So I went up there and auditioned and got the gig the same day. And I've been doing things with him ever since. But the thing about Angel is everybody's, like, two guys are in L.A., one's in Vegas, one's in New York, and I'm in Louisiana. So we kind of have to basically, do a lot of flying to get together. But over the last 10 years, we've done, 2 or 3 week runs. We've gone to Europe a couple of times, done some spot shows here or there. If you go to YouTube, I just saw some YouTube videos of a show we did in Fremont, California, back in January or February, something like that. And On Earth as It Is in Heaven is getting ready to get released, I think, this month. And we're in the process. We've been writing material to do a new record. So I've had like 10 songs written for the new album for the last 3 or 4 years. So, the difference is with Angel, Frank Domino, the singer, he runs it. It's his band, like I run Lillian.
Right.
And so it's kind of a situation where I got to, wait for Frank to get things running,
Right. It's not like you're just throwing material on the table and telling your
Yeah,
band, okay, let's get this
together.
done.
Right. He flies into my house, and we write some stuff, but, he's out trying to find a label for Angel. So in the meantime, I'm doing all these other things and just kind of waiting on him. So.
Right. So I know you were really young when you started Lillian X. How old were you when you started playing guitar, and you have any stories about your first guitar or anything?
Yeah, I was. I thought I was 7, but Mom told me I was 6 when I started. I can remember the day that it was my birthday, and they brought me outside in the backyard, and there was a cardboard box with an acoustic guitar in it. I remember seeing it was one of these weird kind of shaped boxes, and it was my first guitar. I think it was 1995 for this guitar, and man, I learned how to play that thing, and it just got good to me. And I started taking private lessons right then and there, as a matter of fact. And I took it at school, and within about 3 or 4 months, the teacher said that I had surpassed everybody in class. I needed to go into private lessons. That I was, there's nothing else he could do for me there, basically. So then I took private flamenco and classical lessons for years, and got started Alice Cooper on TV when I was 10 years old, and decided what I was going to do at that point. And then got an electric guitar. I remember I didn't have an amp, so we plugged it into the house stereo system, which had speakers in the kitchen. So Mom would be in there cooking, and I would be playing Black Sabbath songs in the kitchen, along with the records while she was trying to make dinner. And that was it, man. I just took it from there. Started bands in high school and paid my dues for years. And it was like 3 or 4 different bands until I formed Lillian, and then we just kept on playing and all through the South and getting popular. And then I had the opportunity to open up for Rat and Queensryche on several dates, and that's where MCA saw us. And we got the attention of Marshall Burrell, which is Rat's old manager, and he got us our first deal with MCA, and that was it. That was the start.
Right on. Yeah, that's when I first started listening to you. I was listening to Queensryche, and then I found Lillian X.
Absolutely, man.
That was cool.
Excellent. So, what was it like getting to design the Signature Series guitar, Steve?
Well, that was really cool. The way that came about was my my sister's fiance is a guitar tech. Right now he slashes guitar tech, but he's teched for. He's out with Stains right now. He's done John 5 for White Zombie, and who else? I think he did Matchbox 20, and he's teched for. He was actually at one point he was Eddie and Wolfgang Van Halen's tech, and he's just one of those guys that's in the loop and gets good gigs because he's a great tech. And we were at a family function once, and we just got started talking. I hadn't seen him in a while, and we started talking about guitars. And I said, "Yeah, I got to find a company that can build." He goes, "Oh man, you mean?" He goes, "I've never even come to you and talked to you about this because I figured you had every company in the world, giving you stuff and endorsing you." I said, "Well, I got some endorsements, but I haven't found the right guitar company yet." So he said, "Look, I got this builder named John Guilford that's doing some custom stuff for John 5, and the guy's amazing, and he's looking for an artist to work with to have his first, guitar, signature guitar built, and I think you guys would be perfect for each other." So we got in touch, and I saw his work, and he, did his research on my career and stuff like that, and it was like, "Yeah, I'd love to work with you." And I said, "Well, you do great work, so let's do it." So we designed the Blaze guitar, and that was guitar players, for the most part, I think, are unsatisfiable characters. We never, ever are fully happy with anything, the way anything sounds, the way any guitar plays, that we're just a lot of, seasoned guitar players are very critical of, not only what they do, but the stuff they do it on. And I've always been like that. It's like, man, I've never found, the perfect sounding amp, the perfect playing guitar. It's always just one little thing off. This is my opportunity to work with somebody that can do it and make a guitar that covers all aspects, the right neck, the right frets, the right width, the right kind of wood, the right pickups, the right this, right, and that's what John Guilford and I did, and we came up with the Blaze guitar, and we had never even met until he brought me my first guitar in Chicago on tour, and he showed up with it, and it was, I mean, usually when you get a guitar for the first time, you know, you need to do some tweaking on it, you need to adjust the action, take it in the shop, get some things tweaked, and get familiar with it. I played it that night. I mean, right away, right out of the case, it was perfect. It played like a dream, man. And, you know, it's like the perfect guitar right now. So, you know, I'm thrilled. And now it looks like we're getting a dealer for the guitar and for his guitars. And, you know, it's a handmade custom guitar. So every one of them is done, you know, by John, by hand. And, you know, we're out there trying to push it and let the world see it. Everybody that's seen it and played it absolutely loves it. It's a great guitar.
So what's the cost to your General Joe Schmo like me wanting to pick one of those up?
The guitar is, if you get it from John online, it's $2,500. I think he makes some kind of payment arrangements and stuff like that, and that's with case and everything. And yeah, it's
really
it's not a cheap guitar, but when you
look
at
it, that's actually really decent. Yeah,
it really is. When you look at, you know, PRSs and Les Pauls and things like that, and I'm going to be honest with you, man, I played, you know, PRS is a great guitar, and I played PRSs until I got this, and there's a noticeable difference in the feel and the sound. I mean, as more output, plays smoother, and the PRS is still a great guitar. I still, you know, use my PRS for different things. I mean, I've played Charvels, I've got a Wolfgang, I've got Les Pauls, I've got Strats, you know, and this thing just surpasses all of them for me personally. And
nice.
And plus the thing is, it's made by hand, you know, and I mean, it's really it's a work of art. I mean, I have people that talk about wanting to buy one just to hang it on the wall. I'm like, oh. You know.
Man, I wouldn't just hang it on the wall.
No, I'm saying you don't want to just do
what you're talking about being a picky guitar player, you know, I'm that picky guitar player that I'm constantly trying to tweak my sound, and it's never exactly what I want. It's like you're satisfied enough that you're like, okay, that's what it's going to be. But in the back of your mind, you're always like, man, that is not what I want it to be, really.
Well, it's lots of things. Like, you know as well as I do, I mean, even the way the guitar sits on your body when you put the strap on, how is it weighted? You know, I've had some guitars that played real well, and you put them on, and the neck falls, and they sit balanced. It's perfectly like even scales, and you don't need that. You need for you to put that on. You don't have to be lifting your neck up the whole time you're playing. You need it weighted at the bottom so that the body the neck's, you know, tilted up some, you know, so you're not having to
and almost weightless
readjust,
you know?
the whole time you're playing. Exactly, and those little things like that is what we worked on for a long time before he started building it.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, I had never, when I first saw that, I was like, man, Guilford. What's a Guilford?
Yeah, the guy's he's a luthier. He's been doing it for years and years, and he's, you know, grassroots, just starting up his own company. And I talked to some people and saw his work and stuff that he'd done, and Chet recommended him highly. So,
and we may have to try and push an interview with him somewhere down the line then too.
You'd love to
the
talk
word
to
out.
him. He's great.
Awesome. So, are you in the way of the upcoming water coming your direction right now from all this flooding, or are you in a safe zone?
You know what? I'm not exactly sure. I've been hearing about it, but I didn't know if it was coming down this way or not. But, you know, I hope we're prepared. You know, I've gone through the hurricane we went through a few years ago, and, you know, if I would imagine that if they're prepared for another hurricane, which everything seems to be geared towards being prepared down here, I would hope to God that they could handle the excess water coming out here. But I live in Mandeville, which is about a half hour away, so I'm not like right on the river or anything like that. So
right on.
All I can say is I hope they get it together, man.
Yeah, I've been thinking about you out there since I started seeing that flood. You know, I've got all these friends I've been calling in Missouri and family
Right.
and up in Iowa. It's like, oh man, you guys are flooded everywhere.
Dude, it's insane, man. The things that are going on weather-wise worldwide. It's just it leaves you speechless, man. So.
It really does. You know, it's I truly feel like we're definitely we're driving it, whether it's a cycle that the planet's putting itself through, but I think we're driving it faster one way or another.
Oh yeah, we're definitely assisting.
He's got like the foot on the accelerator.
Oh, absolutely, you know.
Yeah, I was reading somewhere that they were comparing the planet cycle right now to a woman's labor pains.
Oh, good. So just labor. So we haven't even gotten to the birth part yet.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, nothing's been born yet, man, and we're in slow contractions, you know.
When that happens, it's just going to shake us up.
Oh man, there's going to be no gravity. We'll shoot off. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, is that what they're saying?
No, that's purely me talking. That's not.
Oh, okay.
Oh man. Well, Steve, that wraps up all of the officialness of this. So.
Yeah, actually, I had one more question for you.
Sure.
With a lot of what's going on today with music and the just the internet and stuff like that, how do you view illegal downloading or torrents?
Well, here's the problem that really aggravated me was I found out that before our album was even released, someone told me about this website that people could illegally download, and there were 5,000 illegal downloads of our album, like weeks before the album was even out.
Mm-hmm.
And it really pissed me off because I'm thinking to myself, well, first of all, how did this occur? Who leaked the album out in the first place?
Yeah, really.
And 5,000, that's a lot, and that's before the album was even out. I mean, you know, what is it now? 50,000 units? You know, and you start thinking about the damage. Here's where the damage is, okay? Nowadays, you have no idea how tight money is on labels giving out record deals anymore. Nobody wants to put up money anymore to bands. There's no product development or band development. You know, it's not like back in the early days, and you know, in the 70s, and where there were labels that they found a band that they loved, and the label just worked to build this band and, you know, put all their effort. It was, you know, it was no like pride in finding a great band and being a part of it and its growth and career. Now it's just like, yeah, we'll throw some shit out there and let's see what happens. You know, yeah, we'll, you know, put it in a couple of stores, see what happens. The labels want the success without any work, and they want things to come, you know, already with a story, already, you know, marketed. They want things done for them. There is no such thing as a label taking a band and really pushing it and taking the risk and the financial dive into making a band happen because they believe in the band. It doesn't happen like that anymore. We are pieces of meat. We are product. I am a Snickers bar. That's what we are. We are a brand new Snickers bar, you know, and that's just the way that the whole industry is now. Now, here's the kicker. The fans, you know, the real fans, the ones that go out and buy the records and the ones that go see the bands live and support the industry, they're getting screwed out by the fans that want to just get everything for free. It's like voting, you know. Well, what's my $10 going to do? You know, I'm just one person. If I download something free, that doesn't ruin. Well, that's incorrect because for every one that says that, there are thousands that say that. The problem is when the labels don't get money for record sales, they can't pass it on to the band. Trust me, dude. I'm going after royalties that are owed to me from 20 years ago. Okay.
Wow.
Bands aren't making as much money as everybody thinks, and it's very, very difficult to get it. I promise you. Now, everybody, you know, oh, this band hasn't been touring. They don't ever play around here. Oh, they don't ever put any records out anymore. Well, dude, you know how expensive it is for bands? you know how difficult it is for a band to be able to go do a record, how hard it is to tour? All the things that bands want to do that we can't do because it's all down to financials. And why is it down to that? Well, you only sold 50,000 records. Well, you could have sold 200,000 if 150,000 hadn't been downloaded, or people giving, free, making it easy access for people to get everything for free.
Yeah.
Bands can't go and tour if, clubs make it too expensive to come to shows, or if it's too expensive, because gas is $8,000 a gallon right now, and you got to go fill a tour bus up. You know how much money we spent? We spent like over $10,000 on gas on tour.
Oh yeah,
I
easy.
It is so expensive, and you need tour support money, but you're not going to get it from your label if your label's not, got that kind of money. And bands don't sell the way that thing used to. They really don't. Album sales on the whole, no matter what style of music you watch them, it's completely dropped.
Well, for sure. I mean, as a consumer, I can't afford to go out and buy music the way I could just a couple years ago.
You can't do it.
Where it used to be every paycheck, pretty much on the way home, I hit the music store and picked up whatever couple CDs I wanted, and I wasn't thinking about it. And now it's something my wife and I had talked about. We can't actually remember the last time we went out and bought some new music.
Well, here's the problem, too, as well. If you go to places like, go to Best Buy, someplace like that, you don't see catalog. How much catalog do you see at a Best Buy,
Yeah, you don't see catalog anywhere you go.
You don't. You have to dig for it. But you see it, every brand new pop record and brand new rap record and this and that. What if I want to go find, Sabbath Sabotage somewhere? Well, you better go to eBay or something, or you better, do some digging.
You have to hit the old, the used, CD shack and stuff like that.
There's no catalog anymore. They don't, it's all about, shiny, glossy, extra, sensory, impress everybody, and, it's just, it's not like genuine anymore. Things aren't true, and nobody seems to care about the goodness of music from the 60s to now or whatever. It's like, let's put the brand new stuff in there, and then we can make it $9.99. Well, dude, you know how much music is out there?
Worried about a buck. It's sad.
What's that?
I said they're just worried about making a buck off of it instead of.
It's all it is. It's all about
getting everything out. Yeah.
And it's so difficult, for you're either like doing incredibly well or you're struggling. There's not a whole lot of middle ground in the music industry. Not a whole lot of people that are just making a really good living. It's one way or the other. And when you look at album sales and look at SoundScan for some bands that would, 10 years ago would have been selling hundreds of thousands of records, selling 50,000. I mean, it's amazing when you really take a look at it. Look at some of the biggest acts in the world, what they're selling on Billboard.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, it gets to the point where it's very frustrating. So you have to be totally dedicated to doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, because it can't be whether it's on.
If I was doing it to become a multimillionaire at this point, I'd be totally screwed if it was it. Because it's just, it's not financially the way that everybody would like it to be or thinks that it would be. But, that's why guys like me and bands like Lillian are still doing it right there, because it's not what it's all about. But it would be helpful because it would allow us to continue. I mean, we toured for, 60-something dates, and we came out and we lost like $9,000.
Wow.
It's expensive. And everybody's like, well, why didn't you play my city? Why didn't you play my city? Why didn't you just travel a little bit? Why didn't – the reason why is because it's too expensive.
Yeah.
We couldn't get that far. We could only do X amount of things. We spend thousands of dollars in gas. We didn't get the tour support that we needed because the labels don't have and a label will have 20 bands, and if one band does, we're the highest selling record, album on our label. But what about the other albums on the label that didn't do so well? We're kind of helping everybody out.
Right.
It's just a big mess compared to how it used to be. You know, our first couple of records there, we were getting $200,000 plus recording budgets. You don't see that anymore, at least not for rock bands, you know, where we are. That doesn't happen.
Well,
and, you know, then you've got to get tour support, you've got to get marketing strategy, publicists, and all these other things, and the money just isn't out there in the environment, in the industry anymore.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you guys should do like a writer's strike until you get more money. Just kidding, but yeah.
You know what?
It seems like
at it,
the labels take
like,
most of your CD stuff, sells.
I just look at it as the fans are getting screwed.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. With the strikes?
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of. I mean, you know, it very well, you know, if you could get every band to get together and say, hey, we're not doing anything, but my God, then you'd have, you know, 500,000 bands that would just dying just to be able to get a record deal in the first place. They just jump in and they go throw them out there. It's like there's no loyalty, there's no development of bands, and there's no, you know, hey, little, I'm going to
Nope, it's all about the bill, and so that essentially the scab bands would step up.
Exactly, and they would take the scab bands and they would throw them out against the wall and make them go out there and tour in a van for 10 years and see if he can make some money for us. And they would struggle because the live scene is difficult. I mean, look at the live rock scene now, man. You got Platinum Max playing in front of a few hundred people, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure. That's something I've been noticing for years now, is that all my favorite bands I'm not seeing in big venues anymore, and you know football arenas and hockey arenas and stuff like that. Now I'm seeing them in little small clubs, which is cool for us as the fan, because it becomes more personal, man. You're up close to the band and it's fun. But for the band, you're losing money, you know, that you can't get the heads in the door to pay for the tour. Even if every single person bought a T-shirt, that doesn't necessarily mean it's paying for gas for the tour.
And it's also, you know, it's a disappointment if you can't see, you know, I've seen, you know, hundreds and hundreds of big arena tours. You know, when I was a teenager, man, I was right in the height of it, man. When seeing a big rock show in an arena, there's nothing like that, man.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day when it was really, you know, bands were putting a lot into the big shows. I mean, that was some special stuff, man.
Yeah.
And it's non-existent anymore, you know. So, but that won't keep us down.
That's good to hear.
And when somebody figures it out and somebody gets a hold of this in the music industry and they figure out a way for it to become economically feasible for bands to tour and do records, you know, then maybe things will change at that time. But I see we just keep becoming more and more greedy as a race. And,
bad.
You know, we're kind of in a bad situation. Who knows, man?
Yeah, I only suggested the writer strike for bands so that I could take center stage. I'm kidding, guys. I don't do any. I'm not musically inclined, so don't ever worry about that. Well, excellent.
This has been very good talking with you, Steve. We totally appreciate the chance to do this interview.
Yeah, you get a handshake, and we're both bowing down to you as we speak to you. So, thank you.
You don't have to do that, but thank you very much. And y'all stay in touch with me.
I will, for sure.
You got my email. And do me a favor, let me know when it's going to air.
Oh, for sure.
Where for everybody to go, and we can put it on the website so people can tune in. This is an internet radio show?
Yep.
Yeah. And it's hosted on quite a few different things, and we average lots and lots of views through it. We've done, actually, Gabe, do you know if this interview is going up after the Kevin Booth one or no?
Yeah, it's coming up. It's going to be coming up right after the Kevin Booth interview, right towards the end of July. We just interviewed Kevin Booth from American Drug War. It's a movie that aired on Showtime. It's a great documentary worth checking out. So.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, man. That's awesome. Let me know about that, too. But what did you do, Ray?
Actually, I'm an oil painter, and right now, somehow I'm an illustrator as well.
Oh, really? No kidding, man.
Yeah, he's got some really sick comic book pages going right now.
No kidding. Man, you can email me. Let me take a look at one. You never know, for album covers.
Ripple.
Cool,
Well, awesome, Steve. Thanks again, and I'll definitely be in touch with you. I'll be writing you probably as soon as we get off of this. So.
That sounds good, man. We'll be in touch, and y'all just stay in touch with me. And thanks very much, and we'll be talking soon.